Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, disconnects power supply to headquarters of the Ghana Water Company and other state institutions.
Ministry of Foreign Affairs appeals for logistical support to assist in the emergency evacuation of Ghanaians from Iran following heightened tension with Israel.
Also tonight, prosecution in Ahmed Suale murder case still awaiting the Attorney General's advice to proceed with the case.
Coming up in business news, finance experts advise governments to approach international borrowing with caution following recent credit rating upgrade of B- by Fitch Ratings.
On the international front, President Donald Trump says the U.S. knows where Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, is hiding, but does not want him killed for now.
We have details of all these stories and many more coming up in the next 1 hour. Do stay with us.
We are starting from issues regarding utilities, and the Electricity Company of Ghana has disconnected the electricity supply to Ghana Water Company Limited for a debt of almost 1 billion Ghana cedis. According to ECG officials, Ghana Water Company Limited had not settled its electricity bills in over 7 months. The disconnection, which took place today, is part of ECG's efforts to retrieve debts owed it by state institutions and private entities. This exercise aims to improve the financial stability of the power distributor. ECG had further issued a 48-hour ultimatum to the Ghana Water Company to clear its debt or face extended disconnection to key pumping stations critical to national water supply. ECG task force also visited the premises of the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, the GBC, which also was similarly cut off over the unpaid bills. ECG says the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation defaulted on a previously agreed upon structured payment plan, prompting the ECG's action. So it comes on the back of efforts for the ECG to improve its financials. That's why they are asking that if you owe, you have to pay. Let's engage the General Manager in charge of external communications at the Electricity Company of Ghana, Dr. Charles Ni Aiku. Doc, a very good evening to you. Thank you for joining us on TV3.
Thank you very much for having me, and good evening.
How has today's exercise been? We know that Ghana Water Company, a critical state asset, because of indebtedness, you've cut supply to them. But beyond that, how has the general exercise of debt retrieval been today?
Yeah, thanks once again. Generally, it has been very fruitful. For some customers, they were even able to pay before we got there. Our residential, commercial, and industrial customers have also been able to make some payments, and we've tried also to engage them the reasons why they should pay their bills, especially via arrears. We've also used the opportunity to check the integrity of our meters to realize that in some of the premises that we visit, we are able to engage them if there are faulty meters or they have other issues with their meters or the total supply of power to their various residences or premises. We're able to engage them, and we've also been able to resolve some of their issues. So generally, it has been very fruitful, and we hope the subsequent days ahead would also be equally fruitful.
Should it be our understanding that this is not just Accra, but it's a national or nationwide exercise?
That is true. It's a nationwide exercise.
And why Ghana Water? I mean, it's a critical asset that we all depend on. Water is life, they say. So if you cut supply to them and even threaten that if they do not pay within a particular time, you're going to cut off the area that influences the general supply of water to our homes, that's a serious threat, isn't it?
Well, as you are also very much aware, our business is to buy and sell power, right? And we need to pay our vendors, our suppliers. Yeah, you know, we are in the value chain where we have to pay the IPPs, the DRAs, grid codes, and the rest. And we need money, to pay them. Aside that, we also need to replace quite a number of our equipment, like our transformers in our various districts, the regions, so we can provide our customers with reliable power. So we need money to do all of this. So this is part of the exercise that we are doing to retrieve all our monies in the pockets or in the hands of our customers.
Should it be that if you owe up to a certain amount, you are guaranteed a disconnection, or you are looking at a specific amount and above, for which reason, if they are unable to pay, you will disconnect? And is it every state institution that owes that you are targeting?
It is. Well, I'm trying to understand that you don't mean it's a deliberate attempt to attack.
No. I'm asking that if, for instance, someone owes 10 cedis as against someone who owes 1 billion cedis or 1 million cedis, the differences are there. So are you looking at a certain threshold from which you would start disconnecting, or anybody that owes, if you come and the person is indebted, you're likely to disconnect?
Once you owe and you're in arrears, you must pay. Right? Once you owe and you're in arrears, you must pay. That is it.
Okay. How far with efforts to bring meters to some of the state institutions and agents? We told that prepaid meters, there was a plan to install prepaid meters at all these state institutions. What's the latest regarding that policy?
Yes, so that policy is being enforced and we are engaging these institutions. As you're also aware, the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition, which is our sector ministry, is also engaging with its counterparts, its sister ministries, so that we can implement this fully as directed by law or by government.
All right, Doc, like you indicated, it's a continuous exercise, so we'll probably engage you in subsequent bulletins. Thank you for speaking to us, Dr. Charles.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yes, he is in charge of external communications for the ECG of Ghana, Dr. Charles Ne Aiku.
In more news tonight, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration is appealing for logistical support to assist in the emergency evacuation of Ghanaian nationals from Iran following heightened tension with Israel. The ongoing hostilities between the two countries have intensified in recent days, prompting the ministry to initiate urgent measures to safeguard Ghanaian citizens in affected areas.
Speaking at the Ghana-European Union Partnership Dialogue in Accra, the Sector Minister Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa said the situation demands swift and coordinated international support.
We also appeal for your support in terms of logistics as we currently continue with our evacuation of Ghanaians in Iran and Israel following the unfortunate conflict that has erupted over the last few days.
The exchange of missiles has become dire for citizens in the two countries, with no immediate opportunity for evacuation in Israel by governments. President John Mahama commending the ongoing partnership between Ghana and the European Union on migration, described it as a model for international cooperation.
Our partnership on migration continues to be exemplary. The ATUU project, launched in March 2025 with EU support, underscores our joint effort to make migration safe, humane, and development-oriented. We're enhancing reintegration services, data systems, and community resilience through the National Coordinating Mechanism and establishing a national referral platform.
He praised the EU for its support and collaborative approach to migration governance and labor mobility. The European Union head of mission, Aikad Razali, revealing the EU investments after COVID, says Ghana is breaking into the international space with a lead in global drug production.
Based on our collaboration, Ghana is on the verge of becoming a producing life-saving vaccines, not only for itself, not only for the region, but for the continent. Together with Germany, the European Union has invested no less than 55 million euros to break the cycle of African dependency on vaccines. And Ghana will be at the forefront of serving African needs.
Now, the chairman of the Hajj board, Collins Dowda, has debunked claims that organization of this year's Hajj under his leadership has been poor. In an exclusive interview with TV3, Collins Dowda says that the pilgrimage has been successful and the first batch of pilgrims are expected to return home on Friday, June 20.
The Hajj went very well, and we have gone through the rituals. We have gotten to the end of it, and we are preparing to come back. Inshallah, the first flight is scheduled to arrive in Tamale on the 20th. That is next Friday. So plans are well underway to receive the first batch on Friday, the 20th of this month. The last batch will be on the 27th, inshallah.
He said the 6 Ghanaians who died while in Mecca had underlying health conditions.
From our contingent, I can confirm 6. We have information of a 7th one, but that 7th one didn't go with our contingent, but it's a Ghanaian. He went with a tourist visa and passed on. I wish to say that these are programs who were old and had some underlying conditions, and so it wasn't our wish that they pass, but that was a wish of Allah. As soon as the whole contingent comes back, we'll decide what to do for our programs who passed. Meanwhile, in Makkah, we organized prayers for them after the burial.
Have we informed the families?
Yeah, the families are aware. Some programs made donations that will be extended to the families.
He debunked claims of poor leadership.
I was given a task, and as far as I'm concerned, I delivered on the task. My first task was to make sure that the Hajj fare was reduced. At the time, it was 75,000 per program as the fare. And as a result of skillful negotiations with our service providers in Mecca and Medina, we were able to reduce it to 62,000. So if I had a mandate of reducing the Hajj fare from 75,000 downwards, and I was able to do it to 62,000, as far as I'm concerned, we have done very well. If we look at our flights, we're scheduled to start on the 10th. And every flight was to have 425 passengers. We had that. And we're also on time. All the flights in Tamale, 7 flights in Tamale, and 7 flights in Accra, were always on schedule. And we had full capacity. And I don't see what else they want.
Let's now go to Parliament, where members of the House have advocated the need for children to be trained on how to swim to avoid drowning. The MPs were contributing to a statement made on the floor of the House by the MP for Laura on the senior high school student who drowned over the weekend in Laura.
As a young boy, I tried to learn swimming at the age of 6 in the Volta Lake. But at that time, because of lack of such knowledge, our parents, our uncles would beat us to the core. I can tell you for a fact, anyone who knows how to swim will tell you that if you even put on a life jacket but cannot master the art of controlling yourself on the river, you will still die with the life jacket. Which means that it was better if we allow and train our children who live around river bodies to master the act of at least being still.
In the narrative, he made mention that the cause was that the canoe had a hole and water was seeping into it. This is a very serious issue. Along the Black Water, there are many points where people cross from Ghana to Burkina and vice versa. I am not sure anybody has had the time to ever inspect the canoes that they use. If it were so, maybe this situation would not have arisen. And I want to suggest that NADMO should add inspection of these canoes to its normal duties. We don't wait until there's a disaster and we come and make beautiful speeches here of sympathy and whatnot.
Mr. Speaker, when I sit on the boat from Kafaba, 3 hours I'm on the lake, going to Akamade, and as if the sun and everything that is inconveniencing you is not enough, you don't sight a single speedboat situated on the lake to take care of people who are using the lake in any eventuality. Zero. Mr. Speaker, these are the bigger issues that government has to address its mind to.
MP for Damango, Abu Jinapo, also made a statement on foreign diplomacy.
The new policy direction of the government of the United States of America towards other nations, including the mass deportation of migrants, the imposition of tariffs and travel bans, as well as the withdrawal from the important global agreements and organizations, including the momentous Paris Agreement, are causing several shifts in international politics and trade. And today, Mr. Speaker, before our very eyes, the unfolding hostilities between Israel and Iran pose a serious threat with global ramifications already reflected in surging oil prices, and the risk of further hostilities should the conflict escalate.
Diplomacy, foreign relations has moved from the era of drinking tea and chewing biscuits. It is what we do with the mandate of the people. And remember that whatever we do has to affect the lives of the people positively. So when the foreign minister goes to sign visa-free agreement with Morocco, the foreign minister is working in the interest of Ghana.
Let's now cross over live to Parliament, where my colleague Noble Crosby Annan is standing by to give us updates on the vetting of nominees to the Supreme Court. Crosby, thank you so much for your time. Can you give us highlights of today's vetting?
Right, so a few minutes ago, Justice Bartels Kujo is one of 2 women nominated by President Mahama to the Supreme Court. She took a turn to face the Appointments Committee of Parliament. The committee spent quite a while with her, close to 4 hours with her, as she received and answered questions from members of the committee. The questions were from, if you like, all walks of life, testing her opinions, her judicial knowledge, and looking for positions that she will have right now so that when she makes it to the Supreme Court, she could help influence policy decisions from the Supreme Court. Questions came from various walks of life. For instance, she was asked the question about limiting the functions of the Supreme Court such that, you know, the caseload at the Supreme Court will be reduced. And she said that she was of the opinion that it would be good if the caseload of the court was reduced and if some of the cases were terminated at the Court of Appeal so that the Supreme Court will not have a lot of cases to deal with on a daily basis, as has been ascribed to by one other nominee of the Supreme Court. She was asked about the situation of legal aid in Ghana, and she said that there are some challenges with legal aid and legal representation in Ghana. In fact, to solve this, she's advocating that for young, fresh lawyers who are fresh out of school, they may do their national service at the legal aid offices in the country. With this, it would help solve 2 problems. Legal aid will be available, and these fresh lawyers will also have, you know, hands-on experience. Promoting the judiciary, a question came up on promoting the judiciary, whether it is politically motivated. And she said it's only a perception. She, for instance, she's rising through the ranks from a magistrate court up until this nomination. She does not believe that anything political is involved, and she thinks it's just by dint of hard work and, if you like, by the grace of God. Well, separation of powers has been one of the key concerns from the committee. It's been asked throughout to all the nominees who have faced the committee, separation of powers in terms of, none of the arms of government extending its operations into the other arm of government. For her, she thinks that ordinarily all the arms of government, they are in their lane, but however, it does not mean that if there's an arm of government that is doing something wrong, it stops the judiciary or any other arm of government from intervening to right the wrong. Questions about media freedoms, budget for the judiciary. There's also a question on legal age for sex and marriage. That has also, if you like, run through all the nominees here. And she says that this has something to do with the law and morality that will need some.
Crosby, thank you so much for your time. Noble Crosby Annan reporting live from Parliament.
Meanwhile, a nominee to the Supreme Court, Justice Philip Bright-Mensah, has recommended an optimal number of 20 judges to be appointed to the Apex Court. He says the court needs enough numbers on the bench to fast-track cases and enhance justice delivery.
I, Philip Bright-Mensah,
do in the name of the Almighty God swear.
Do in the name of the Almighty God swear.
Justice Bright-Mensah comes with years of accumulated experience, having sat on landmark cases in the past. While acknowledging that there is no threat to the judiciary, he said the Supreme Court must have 20 judges, despite concerns that the court is being packed.
They will be starting with more and more cases, and they cannot have. So at any given time, when the panel or the judges in the Supreme Court are about 20, then we are saying that we have about 4 sets of panel of judges to handle those cases. So, Mr. Chairman, I will say, in my humble opinion, given the cases that are in the Supreme Court, I will recommend that 20 judges would be appropriate.
He, however, believes that if there is the need to cap the number of judges, there must be wide consultations.
If there should be the need for expansion or capping of the Supreme Court, I think that there must be a wide and expansive consultation among all the stakeholders, so that we will all come to consensus as to what we must do.
MPs took him through long hours of tough questioning. That notwithstanding, there were some light moments.
Am I to
18 years. To 18 years.
Oh, then that the girl can't have sex.
Have sex at 16.
Hey.
My lord, I think if that is done, the defilement cases will be a lot.
Well, these girls waited to 18. That is the question we must also settle ourselves. Let the law remain what it is, at least for now.
Justice Bright-Mensah had his own views on how to prosecute illegal minors, especially the Chinese nationals.
When they are arrested and sent to the court, the difficulty is that they don't speak English. Even if they can, they understand English, they will refuse to speak English. So I will suggest strongly, or I recommend, that the judges who are in the areas where these galaxies are going on, the judges must either be taken to China for further studies in Chinese language, or they should fashion the JTI must be resourced to bring experts.
He said the law is clear on the tenure of president, so there is no need for a different interpretation. He also argued that the mandatory retirement age of judges must not be pushed to 75.
Let's now go to court, where prosecution in the murder case of investigative journalist Ahmed Suale Hussein has informed the Medina District Court that it is still waiting for advice from the Office of the Attorney General to know the direction to take. Daniel Owusu-Kranton, an investigative journalist and former colleague of Suale, has been charged with abetment of crime and murder. A report by Lord Idoasari.
The prosecution has alleged that Daniel Owusu-Kranton led 2 other alleged culprits currently at large to the home of Ahmed Suale, where he was eventually shot and killed by an unknown assailant. Daniel has, however, pleaded not guilty and is on a 50,000 cedi bail granted him by the Accra High Court in May. In court on Tuesday, June 17, Chief Inspector Nana-Ifua Bamfo intimated that the docket of the murder case is before the Attorney General for a review of the evidence and legal basis of the case to determine if there is sufficient evidence to warrant a prosecution of the case or not. Presiding Judge Susan Nyakote then adjourned proceedings to August 2nd and ordered that the prosecution secure the Attorney General's report and file the bill of indictment at the next hearing. According to the brief facts of the case, the accused, Daniel Kranting, had close ties with Ahmed Suale. Prosecution narrated that tensions escalated in June 2018 when former Asin Central Member of Parliament, Kennedy Japan, published images of Ahmed Suale on Net2 TV calling for retribution against the investigative journalist. The prosecution narrated that after probing, Ahmed Suale later identified Daniel as the one who provided Ken Ejapon with his photographs and confronted him through a WhatsApp chat. On January 16, 2019, following the publication of the deceased's images, he was shot and killed in Medina. Investigation disclosed that the accused person, having known the deceased's place of abode and possible hideouts, led two other culprits currently at large to the house of the deceased, where he was shot and killed. Lord Idwasari, TV3 News, Accra.
Students across Ghana have finally finished their BECE. Judith Brown was at the Nema cluster of schools earlier and captured the excitement and relief.
After hours behind the final paper, the bell finally rang. Then followed jubilation as students walked out of the exam hall relieved that the BECE was finally over. Students expressed confidence in the pending results.
I'm so excited because I need to be proud of myself by finishing this JHS. We should help our parents and do other things for them because they are the ones to provide money for us to go to the senior secondary school. It was cool.
The whole exam?
Yeah, it was cool and enjoyable.
So how many ones are you planning to get?
9.
9 ones. How many subjects? 10. But you want to get 9. Why? Which subject do you think you'll not get 1 in?
Creative arts.
The exams was okay. They told us to come inside the exams hall with confidence. We did what they asked us to do, and we are thankful to the Almighty God for how far He has brought us.
But it did not end there. Authorities had a final message for them.
Most of you are finishing your papers today. You are not finishing your education entirely. In fact, this is just the beginning. From today, when you move back home, be with your parents. Support your parents because they are going to help you to go to SHS.
The director for the Ayawaso East Educational Directorate, William Chapo, explained the exam went smoothly.
Everything went very well. There was no exam or practice. The only challenge we had was some of the children were scared, they were afraid, so they fell sick. But luckily, we have the medical team around, so they attended to them. We are expecting good results because we trained them well, we taught them well, and they have also done well in the exam according to what they are saying. So we are expecting a very good result.
Well, it's been 5 good days of writing BECE, and except for candidates who are going to be writing Arabic, God willing, tomorrow, it seems that BECE has officially ended for over 600,000 candidates from across the country. Students are elated, they're confident that they're going to pass this exam. They're very happy, and they're hoping all goes well for them in the end. Judith Brown, TV3 News.
It's great to be young, all the best to them. Let's go to the Ashanti region where a heavily pregnant woman in her 3rd trimester was arrested on Monday at Achasi for engaging in Galamsey. The woman, who could not escape after the Joabin Municipal Security Task Force raided Galamsey site, said she was only working for her daily bread. A report by William Evanson Kum.
On June 11, TV3 reported that an eligible BEC candidate at the Duampompo MA Junior High School has abandoned the BEC for Galamsey. After the story, the Dwaben Municipal Assembly promised to investigate the matter.
Yet to find out because the headmaster was also going around. So when we get to the office, we was called to find out.
A special task force led by the MCE, Eunice Ohenewa and Sue, has raided some known Galamsey sites.
When we went around last Wednesday, what we saw, we need to come and call all the assembly members together so that we can come and find out if the children are still at the site. And honestly, when we came, we saw a lot of them. But because we have the security following us, they all ran to the bush. So I'm very worried about that. And as from today, what we are saying is that from today, no operation. We have banned the operation from today. No. The
illegal miners fled upon seeing the task force. However, a heavily pregnant woman who has neared labor could not flee. Cecilia Usua was arrested but later released due to her condition.
You're still watching News 360 on TV3. Stay with us. Menu Aful joins us with the latest in business. Time now for business, and clearly you can see Menu Afol is with us. Hello, Menu.
Hi, Martin.
What's going on in business?
Well, it's good. Good news, which comes to the caution. Fitch Ratings, as you may know, has upgraded Ghana to B-. But experts are also cautioning that government should be cautious in its attempt to, borrow from the international markets. You have details of that.
Okay. Sure. Give it to us.
Thank you. Good evening. Welcome to the business segment on News360. I am Minu Afol. Government has been urged not to rush to the international capital market to borrow following Fitch Ratings upgrade of the country's credit worthiness to B- with stable outlook. Experts warn any misstep will derail the gains made so far and set in motion a new cycle of fiscal challenges.
The B- rating is still what is called speculative, meaning Ghana's finance commitments are being met, but there is higher possibility of default. Finance expert and head of Merban Capital, Nelson Kujo Kwagbeji, believes this rating is a sign of investor confidence coming back.
Until recently, Ghana's economy rated CCC+, having attained rank status in the past. However, with this B- rating, investors have now renewed their confidence.
Chief Executive of Delex Finance, Joe Jackson, says the upgrade is a bolster for the financial sector.
So long as our sovereign rating was bad, that meant that financial institutions couldn't raise money outside for whatever we needed to do. It meant that if there's a company in Ghana that needed an investor, the investor would look at it with a jaundiced eye because the rating was bad.
The experts urged government to find homegrown solution rather than going back to the capital market.
Any attempts and decision to go back into the capital market to go and borrow because of our rating may derail the gains that we have made. What I want to suggest is that government must rather use homegrown policies. Government must mobilize domestic revenue to finance the annual budget.
If you borrow and you use the money for the right things, if you use the money for productive ventures, if you use the money for things that will pay back, borrowing is good. Borrowing allows us to accelerate our development. But the challenge we all have is this. In the past, we have not used our borrowing the right way.
To consolidate gains made, Ghana must prioritize fiscal discipline and implement substantial reforms to stabilize its economy and manage growing debt burdens.
Meanwhile, President John Dramani Mahama has welcomed the Fitch upgrade, describing it as a reflection of prudent debt management and enhanced domestic revenue mobilization by his administration. Speaking at the Ghana-European Union Partnership Dialogue, President Mahama said the upgrade signals growing confidence in Ghana's economic recovery.
Macroeconomic recovery and fiscal governance. Ghana's economic outlook is rebounding steadily. Our administration remains committed to restoring macroeconomic stability through prudent fiscal management, enhanced domestic revenue mobilization, and expenditure rationalization. Working in partnership with the Bank of Ghana, we're stabilizing inflation, stabilizing the cedi, and pursuing debt restructuring strategies to restore confidence and rebuild the fiscal space for development. These efforts are yielding fruits, and only yesterday the Fitch Rating Agency upgraded Ghana's credit outlook to B-, stable outlook. We're also pursuing regulatory and institutional reforms that promote transparency, reduce inefficiencies, and expands our fiscal base.
Away from that, Ghanaian businesses are being urged to re-strategize and look inward as the country risks losing over $1 billion in export earnings due to new U.S. tariffs. Emerging Markets Advisory, a trade and policy think tank, warns that Ghana, along with several other African economies, could suffer significant setbacks from the imposition of over 10% tariffs by the United States on select imports.
The Emerging Markets Advisory, in its latest analysis, is sounding the alarm on the Agency of Trade Diversification, warning that Ghana's overdependence on raw commodity exports and foreign markets leaves it vulnerable to external shocks such as tariffs and global price fluctuations. According to co-founder and managing partner at EM Advisory, Dr. Abdul Ganiyu, the U.S. reciprocal tariff could cause exporters to suffer about 20% loss in earnings.
If the 10% tariff imposition stays, then Ghana could suffer over $1 billion lost. So as far as export revenue to the U.S. market is concerned. In the normal scheme of things, you would think this is still not significant. But if we narrow it down to the individual businesses, we think it does.
Dr. Abdul Ganiyu also made the case for increased intra-African trade under the AFCFTA to cushion the blow.
I agree with all analysts who have indicated that there will be no need for us to reciprocate the tariffs, right? We rather have to look at what measures to take to mitigate the impact, especially at the micro level.
Let's now take a look at how the cedi is faring against major trading currencies and how some of our key commodities are also faring on the global market. And that's it for Business Tonight on News 360. I am Menu Afo. We have more news coming up for you, and Martin will take you through.
Right, thank you very much, Menu. So we, as your Election Command Center, we've just received news from the camp of the New Patriotic Party, which is that the party, after a long stretch meeting by the National Executive Committee, has agreed that January 31, 2026 will be the date for their presidential primaries. And you'd already know that key individuals, including former Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, Kenneth Japong, Brian Champong, and a number of others are testing the waters to lead the party in the next general elections. So January 31, 2026 will be the date that the party will be holding its presidential primaries. The General Secretary of the party, Justin Kodua Frimpong, addressed the media after that long marathon meeting earlier today.
The National Council also took a serious note on issue of some indiscipline in the party. And again, the party takes very seriously issue of discipline, and is something that we are not prepared to renege on our determination to instill discipline in the party. Certain individuals were cautioned today about some utterances that they have been making in the social media, on radio and TV stations. And the chairman for the occasion stood in to plead on behalf of those individuals and requested National Council to give them at least the last chance. In the wisdom of National Council, they accepted the plea from the chairman for the occasion, Chairman Smidan Kwabuti, and rather cautioned them. We call on our members that at least they must show respect to our party. They must show respect to personalities in our party. They must show respect to leadership in our party. We know that we are a democratic party. Everyone has the right to express his or her views. But it must be done within the confinement of our constitution. And they must also avert their mind to Article 3, which talks about duties of members of our party.
That's Justin Kodua Frimpong, NPP's General Secretary. You're watching News 360 on TV3. Sports News with Oreku Ampofo is right up after this.
Coil.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the sports segment here on News 360 with me, Oreku Ampofo. We start off with some local news where Asante Kotoko secured their 10th MTN FA Cup title with a thrilling 2-1 victory over Golden Cake FC at the University of Ghana Sports Stadium on Sunday evening. My colleague Mutala Yakubu was at the University of Ghana Stadium and found this report looking at what it means for the club going forward.
The Porcupine Warriors took an early lead in the 16th minute with Kwame Opoku heading home a well-delivered free kick from Lord Amoa.
And Amoa swings it to the far post. Ablo has the ball and does the opening goal for Asante Kotoko. Ablo headed it onto the head of Kwame.
Golden Cake responded in the 32nd minute through a superb Blaise Ige free kick, leveling the contest and setting up a 10-second half. Both sides created chances after the break, but the match decisive moment came in the dying minutes. Kotoko were awarded a highly controversial penalty after a clash between Kwame Opoku and Golden Cake goalkeeper Kelvin Sabah. Opoku stepped up and calmly converted the sport kick in the 95th minute, sealing a dramatic brace and handing Kotoko the win. The awarding of the late penalty sparked heated debate. Kotoko coach Abdul Karim Zito defended the decision, stating it was fair call by referee and part of the game's drama.
I saw it. Maybe, you see, the issue here is, I don't know, he is whistling. He was standing there, he didn't move. And he was late in whistling. That is the problem. He was late, but it doesn't mean it's not a penalty. You understand me?
On the other hand, Golden Cake's coach, Fifi Parker Hansen, expressed disappointment, suggesting he anticipated foul play and felt the penalty was unjustified.
Yeah, it was very disappointing. I know there will be a foul play somewhere. So I was like, this game, it's too low for Asante Kotoko to have something like this. It's very easy, cheap.
Asante Kotoko fans, on the other hand, were pleased with the victory and believe the team will improve next season.
It wasn't an easy game. We started with the team playing more than we were expecting. But thank God, because of experience and how we came what to do, we did what we expected of the team to do, so now we are okay with it.
And the ball boys number ball. And now coaching is why there. Coaching number there. Once they say ball near ball, your Zito ball, and then Zito ball near ball.
I think it was a good game, and in all sincerity, Golden Cakes came out, played well during the first half, but I think with experience, we used our experience to win this game.
The victory marks Kotoko's first triumph in the FA Cup since 2017 and secures their return to continental football in the 2025-2026 CAF Confederation Cup alongside Bibiani Gold Stars, Ghana's other representative in Africa next season.
Some more stories where Black Stars defender Jonas Ajete was over the moon after winning his first trophy as a football professional. The 21-year-old who joined FC Basel in Switzerland from Bochum Chelsea helped the Swiss side clinch their first league title in 7 years and also triumphed in the Swiss Cup. In an exclusive interview with 3 Sports, the Black Stars defender spoke about the significance of winning the league and cup double with Basel.
The last few months have been particularly really great for you, going on to win the Swiss League with Basel. What does this mean to you?
For me, it's meant so much for me because this is my first trophy for when I started playing for the prof. Like, this is my first trophy, and then God been so good, I had to do. So for me, it's a great and a good honor for me. We jubilated because almost all the players, after the Lugano game, all the players came to the dressing room, and then we head to a particular place. We have dinner, and then we watched the game there, and then the game was against Young Boys and then Servette. So we were waiting. If Servette wins, then we have to hold on a little bit. But fortunately, it ended draw, and then we realized that we are automatic the winner. So there we jubilated a little bit, and then we have some chat and stuff. We celebrated with the fans. So during that week we had like 2 celebrations also.
Now, before we go, the Ghana Boxing Authority has confirmed the successful repatriation of the remains of Nigerian boxer Gabor Oluwasegun Olaronweju, who tragically passed away in Ghana in March this year during a boxing bout. The body was airlifted today, June 17, from Kotoka International Airport and is currently on its way to Lagos after a brief stopover scheduled in Lomé, Togo. You can get some more updates on our social media handles at 3SportsGH. My name is Ore Kwampofo, and that's how we wrap up the sports segment on News 360.
News segment is brought to you by GTP Lifestyled and Napa Foods. Heaven Black Insecticide Spray and Coil. Powered by 3 Entertainment.
Let's now enter the world of arts and entertainment for some exciting news in the industry.
British Ghanaian actress and TV presenter Amake Aberese is calling for urgent structural reforms in Ghana's film industry. In a recent interview, she emphasized the need to move beyond a passion-driven model to a more organized, sustainable, creative economy. Aberese highlighted challenges such as a lack of distinct industry roles, limited cinemas, and low engagement with streaming platforms. She stressed that the film sector should be seen not just as entertainment, but as a vital source of jobs and economic growth. In the 5th week of Sean Diddy Combs' sex trafficking and racketeering trial, testimony concluded from a woman identified as Jane, his ex-girlfriend. She claimed Diddy coerced her into sexual acts with male escorts while he watched, describing the experience as feeling like a sex worker in her own relationship. Legal experts note her testimony may help show patterns of control, but could also leave jurors conflicted as she continued the relationship. While prosecutors portrayed Diddy's action as manipulative and criminal, the defense argued they were part of consensual relationships. The jury must now decide how to interpret his conduct.
And in the U.S., R. Kelly serving a 30-year sentence for racketeering and sex trafficking now alleges he's facing life-threatening mistreatment in prison. In a new court filing, Kelly claims he was deliberately overdosed with medication in solitary confinement and collapsed and was in hospital.
Time now for international news.
President Donald Trump says the U.S. knows where Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, is hiding during the Israeli-Iran conflict, but doesn't want him killed for now. Trump urged in a social media posting Iran's unconditional surrender as the 5-day conflict continues to escalate. We know exactly where the so-called supreme leader is hiding, Trump added. He is an easy target, but is safe there. We are not going to take him out. At least not for now. But we don't want missiles shot at civilians or American soldiers. Our patience is wearing thin. Trump's increasingly comments toward the Iranian government come after he urged Tehran's 9.5 million residents to flee for their lives as he cut short his participation in an international summit to return to Washington for urgent talks with his national security team. The comments about Khamenei and calls for surrender came shortly after Trump, in a separate posting, touted complete control of the skies over Tehran. Kenyan protesters have clashed with club-carrying young men believed to be loyal to the government in the center of the capital, Nairobi. The demonstration, held in the wake of the death in custody 10 days ago of blogger and teacher Albert Ojwang, was called to demand the sacking of a top police officer. Police initially said that Mr. Ojwang died of self-inflicted wounds, but were forced to retract the statement after an autopsy found that it was likely he died after being assaulted. 2 policemen have been arrested in connection with his death.
And that's how we bring the bulletin to an end. Remember that at 9 p.m., Beatrice Edu will be coming your way with Agenda. I am Martin Asiedu-Dartey.
And I am Portia. Gabor. Join Alfredo Kanse at 10 p.m. for Ghana Tonight. Good evening.